Friends, are y'all busy? Okay, good, because while I was minding my business being nosy, I hadn't found out something, and I think you want to know about it. Okay. Now, y'all, we was on the topic of what happens when you go on to glory. Now, for those of y'all that don't know what glory is, it just means that when you go for the long sleep, when you DIE. Okay, but we don't want to say the word because we don't want you to tripping over here. So what happens if y'all was on my TikTok, y'all saw that I talked a little bit about it. Very short video, but it's just not enough time. It's not enough time. So y'all had to come over here, and if you listen on Spotify, I had to come get some attention over here so we can go into depth on it, friends. We can dig down, deep down in the rabbit hole. First of all, I want to start off by saying that we get the general consensus and ideas for what happens when we go away from religion, or the lack thereof, right? So let's talk about what a few religions think happens to you when you go away. First of all, we know Christianity says that there's a heaven and a hell. You either go to heaven or you go down under, to the land down under. And that depends on what you believe while you're here on this planet and how you conduct yourself and carry yourself. I really don't need to go into depth on that, but y'all know the tea on Christianity. That's just pretty much what it is. There's all different kinds of denominations. And it's a celebration. They call it a homegoing. So when you get ready to get on out of here and you do go under to the long sleep, they say to celebrate, because to be absent from the body is what? To be present with the Lord. Now, that's a word. I'm not going to preach to y'all today, but just give you that little word right there to help you through your day. But other religions, such as like Hinduism, Buddhism, they believe in reincarnation. You come back, you do it again based on a karmic cycle. What did you do when you was here? Okay. Do you have to come back and relearn the lesson again? Did you not do what you were supposed to do? Did you do something bad to land you here? Did you do something that you have to come back and repay? Like, what is it that you have to do? And if once you're done with that karmic cycle, then you go on and have liberation and I guess be in what is like a heaven environment. And then you have atheists, right? Now, this is not all the religions because there are a lot out there that believe different things. And I'm not here to insult anybody's beliefs. What you believe is what you believe. I ain't telling you wrong because I don't know. I just know what I believe. And if you don't believe what I believe, it's okay. We all right. We still friends. Okay. Atheists, for the longest, I had the wrong idea about atheists. I always thought that they believed in the devil. I thought it was the devil worshiping their devil. Like, what? They believe it? No, that just means that they don't believe in anything. Now, atheists can be Satanists, right? But atheists don't really believe in anything. They just feel like they're here, and once they're gone, they're gone. No conscious living on, no anything. Guys, even when we're talking about like ancient Egypt, they believe in an afterlife as well, but you have to go into a long journey down under again to the underworld, trek through the underworld. And once you make it through all of that, then they have to weigh your heart and see if it's lighter than a feather. And if it's lighter than a feather, you get to go on to the afterlife. And you live a similar life to what we live here on the planet, right? Which you could take your riches and stuff with you. And if it's heavier than the feather, that's it. Control, Alt, Delete, you're done. Now, I got one for y'all, friends, that a lot of people probably don't know about, but the Aztecs. What did the Aztecs believe? Something a little different. Something a little bit different. They had two versions of heaven and a version of hell. And in that version, the way you ended up there is if you went on to glory just from being old. So if you lived your life, you could have been the best person in the world. But if you didn't get called home until you was very old, then they believed that you went to hell. Okay? And the way you would get to one of the two heavens is if you went early from a certain list of diseases, or if you got struck by lightning. That would guarantee you a spot in heaven. For the Aztecs, that's what they believe. That's what they believe. Now, I'm not criticizing. I'm just telling y'all because I know a lot of us didn't know this. If you got struck by lightning or if you went in the water and didn't come back out, okay? Y'all know what that means. Going in the water, don't come back out. Yeah, you went to heaven. But if you just simply went away because you were old, straight down. That's what they believe. And there's even a group called the Zoroastrians. I think y'all know I'm country. Y'all know I'm gonna tear it up, which was a part of the Persian Empire, right? Or Persian belief. And they were like jumping buildings. Well, really no buildings then, but jumping over structures and walking on wobbly bridges and stuff. That's what they did when they was alive. So they believed that once you passed on over to the other side, you had to walk across this bridge. And if you fell off the bridge, then you would fall straight down to hell. And if you didn't fall off the bridge, then you make it over on the other side to heaven. You know how Christians say when we get on the other side of that mountain. Similar. But interesting topics, right? So that's all of what religion says. So we know there's so many different beliefs, friends. Everybody got their own thing. That's fine. That's good. We cool with that. But we just talking about what happened. What do we think happened? One of my biggest questions is, why don't we just ask the people who have been there? Now, in most religions and beliefs, like Christians, they can't take you have no knowledge. No one's ever been and been able to come back, right? That's what I was always taught growing up. But then as I got older and started looking around, searching for God and everything that I do, because that's what he wants you to do. He wants you to seek him. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and then all these things shall be added unto you. Y'all hear me? Did y'all hear that? Okay. So when I started seeking, I started finding that people have had experiences where their water was cut off. When I say water cut off, meaning that they went on to glory, but then they got turned around at the door or a little bit beyond the door and was told to come back. So there has been people who have experienced passing on and came back to tell what they saw. Now, none of those experiences that I've heard of said that they actually saw the face of God, right? But they all were very similar. One story that I want to share with y'all, friends, that I saw was this lady who was an atheist. Now, remember what we said about atheists? They have belief in nothing. They think that once they're gone, they're just gone. And that's it. The conscious and any of that stuff doesn't go on. Well, she was an atheist, and she was also a scientist, very analytical. She probably was a Virgo. Me just thinking about it. It's analytical, overanalyze everything. And she actually got hit by a truck while she was on her bike. And it did one to her. It did a number to her. And she had to be rushed to the hospital and have surgery. Now, here's where it gets wild. In the middle of the surgery, she started watching herself. She started watching the people doing surgery on her. She was like, oh, look at that. Mm-hmm. Not even realizing that she was out of her body. And then she was pulled into this area like a pop or pulled. Now, friends, I might be conflating two different stories because there are two different atheist stories that I really like, but I'm going to tell y'all, I'll put the information, link the video in the description box if y'all want to go back and watch that video. But either way, she ended up in this beautiful mountain, this beautiful area. People describe the colors as nothing you've ever seen here on this planet. And she remembered thinking, okay, she was feeling love and acceptance and peace. And she thought to herself, and growing up in the church, they said for sure if you're an atheist, it's not where you're going to be at. And she remembered thinking like, what is going on? And then she had a reassurance and a confirmation come to her telepathically saying, this is your home. Where she was in the afterlife, where her conscience continued, her soul continued. All of this was validating things that people say don't exist and some things that people say do exist, which is the conscious goes on. She is not the only person who has said this, friends. There are thousands of stories out there, thousands. I mean, Netflix did a documentary on it. I didn't watch it because I was going through a phase at that point in my life where I was scared of everything. But I watched these ones online and it was incredible. When she came back, she had a knowledge and belief of what happens when you go. Not only that, friends, I kind of got ahead of myself, but these people always are saying that all of a sudden they have like a flash of their life come up before them, like on a projector, on a movie board, on a screen, however, but it's happening in their mind. And in that moment, they are feeling like, dang, I shouldn't have done that to these people. Or why would I do something like this? Or wow, that was a really happy moment in my life where I did something good, where they are really judging themselves. But this love, this light, this energy is comforting them and cradling them like a baby. Like, it's okay. I love you and accept you for who you are. But if you want to go back and fix this, I think you need to. Not only that, friends, but this guide or this being that's with them, they can't see their faces, telling them that they chose this life. They chose to come here and do this on earth. Like, this was a plan before they was even born. Now, this is what this lady is being told. And I'm just going to go ahead and say that this person came back. She was a different person. She wasn't an atheist anymore. She believed. She actually ended up having a spiritual moment with her father after he passed away. And it just changed her whole perception on everything. And this is not the only story like this, friends. There are so many of them out there. But one of the common themes that I noticed in all of this, friends, with these NDEs is that these people all experience a very similar thing. A pop out of the body, like that. And then they don't even realize what has happened. As soon as they realize it, they start to feel pulled, like sucked in a direction. They're either going through like a wormhole, a light tunnel, or something like that, where they get to this place and they feel an overwhelming amount of love. Just peace, love, happiness, joy, no judgment, acceptance. Like, they just feel so much validation and just peace. That's a common theme across this, and one of the things, friends, that I'm gonna tell y'all, it's pretty common, is that these people say they're told, and they communicate telepathically with whomever is there with them. They don't know what it is. Some people say it's God. Some people say it's a spirit guide. But they're told that they chose to do this, that they chose to come here. Now, y'all know, if y'all watch my other podcast, that I'm a fan of Dolores Cannon. I just like her work, right? But that's very similar to what she say. Dolores Cannon says that while she was hypnotizing these people, doing hypnotherapy, teaching them how to stop smoking and drinking and overeating. And if anybody knows how to stop overeating, please tell me. Hypnotize me, baby, because I be eating. Nom, delicioso. I be eating. I be trying not to, friends. But she was doing that. And she accidentally stumbled into the subconscious. And she started doing all of these past life regressions and going back in time. And these people were telling her, now this is like during the 50s and the 60s, where it won't really nobody out here on the internet, because it won't around. Not for us, not for common use. It won't like people can say, oh, when you go in there and say this, or put a preconceived idea in your mind. She was just getting this information from thousands of patients, and they all were saying the same thing. They chose to come here. They chose to be here. They made a deal. They had a contract in heaven. They see some of the beings that they saw were aliens, what we would consider aliens. Out there, and they all said that Earth was a school that you come to learn, and if you get it wrong, you got to come back and do it again until you pass and you graduate to the next level of heaven. Now, that's what Dolores Cannon says, and it sounds oddly similar to these people who have actually gone on to glory and came back. I'm just saying, that's what I'm saying. I don't know, because I ain't been there yet, but whatever. So it's not too different than what the near blank experience people have seen. They have a lot in common. Now, friends, in some of these stories, there have been people who were Christian, like this one Christian woman that said that she got sucked to hell, that she didn't go to this happy place, and she was there being tormented with disease and all kinds of stuff until she ended up calling on Jesus and praying, and then he came and got her. And the same with this one man who wasn't even a religious person. He just said he lived his life. He knew who God was, but he just lived his life. And he ended up passing on in the hospital. And he said them little shadow people from Ghost, from the movie Ghost, came and got him and was beating him all on top of his head and everything. He said he had to call on Jesus, and it was scary, and it was not a fun time. And he is now a believer and changed person, changed man. And that'll change me. I'm just saying, it'll change me. So that's not the only thing that people talk about when they talk about what happens when you pass on. Some people believe in reincarnation. Now, is there proof of reincarnation out there? Yes, there is. Yes, there is, friends. And y'all know I'm passionate about this topic too, because it's so interesting. It's just too many clues. It's too much for somebody to say, no, that's not real. So I'm going to tell y'all about this little boy. Now, apparently, there's a story out here about this little boy named Ryan. And he remembers working in Hollywood in his past life. And he would tell his mom, I used to work in Hollywood. And I was with an agency. And the street that I lived on had the name Rocky in there. I was married 5 times. I like this orange soda. Yeah. And so they're going through this old Hollywood book one day, and the little boy points it out. That's me. I'm him. He didn't know the man's name. He didn't know it. But he said, that's me. And the man was an extra in the Mae West movie. He wasn't even the main character. You know, he was in the background. Y'all get like some of us in the background, not being the main character. I'm going to need y'all to be the main character in 2024 in your life. Don't be in the background, friends. Okay? So anyway, He's in the background. And so they go to this Hollywood historian and the man says, oh, okay, this man's name is Marty Martin. He was an extra. He ended up working for an agency. He lived on a street called Roxbury Drive in Beverly Hills. This is the orange soda that the little boy is talking about that was discontinued in like the 60s. He was married 5 times. Okay. And so then what got me was the little boy saying that I just find it crazy how God can let you live to be 61 and then you pass away and come back as a child. And the people was like, oh, no, got you, son. He didn't pass away at 61. He passed away at 59. That's what the certificate of going away said. Okay. In actuality, the certificate was wrong. They actually found documents proving that Marty Martin was 61 when he passed away. This little boy was able to get 55 facts about this man correct. Mind you, this man was an extra. There wasn't no huge write-up on him about what he did in life, and he was just a huge star. You know, by standards, he just wasn't that big of a deal in Hollywood to have that much information. So you gonna tell me reincarnation don't exist, or how would he know these things? You know, is it a familiar spirit? Is it something possessing him? Did he actually live as Marty Martin? Who knows? Now, I'm going to bring it on home for y'all friends, because really and truthfully, what does science say about this? What does science say about when you pass on? Because, you know, you got people out here that just want science to explain everything. And they think that the scientists be understanding, but half of the science stuff is theory. Okay. Anyhow, what does science say about it? So there's this chart, this EEP chart, this electromagnetic. You know what? I'm not a heart doctor. I'm not a brain surgeon. I'm not a neuroscientist, neurologist. I was going to do that, but I decided to let them have that because I felt like I would just take over the space and dominate like Jordan. Okay. I ain't want to do that. Got to let people do what they do. So, but this chart I'm going to show y'all, it shows the activity in the brain, the frequency in the brain that controls what your brain is doing, right? So you have parts of your brain that control breathing. You know, you're not sitting up every day like in, out. You know, you're not doing that. You don't have to do that. Your brain does it naturally. You don't have to do that. That is very low frequency in your brain, right? It happens naturally, like on autopilot. But there's part of your brain that has frequencies that really heighten during times of thinking, talking, activity, whatever it is. So what scientists found was that after the person had crossed over, right, these levels were just very basic. They did this study in 2023. Okay. And the levels were very basic, just breathing, your brain telling your heart to beat, that stuff. And then the person passes away. And then 10 to 15 minutes after the passing, you see this spike in frequency. Huge spike. Huge. The crazy part about that is some people will dismiss it and say, oh, that's just the last functions just misfiring, like a spark here, a spark there. No, this spike is happening in the part of the brain that's responsible for the subconscious. And it's also responsible for dreaming. If that ain't enough evidence right there to tell you that when these people say that they saw their life flash before their eyes, they saw this project of everything that they ever done in their life. And, you know, they had all this activity, seeing all this beautiful things, seeing their family, seeing light beings, being sucked through a wormhole. And they're able to come back and confirm what doctors were doing when they passed on the operating table. They were able to come back and confirm what people were saying about them. One man knew that his wife had cheated on him. Okay. All of that happens in science. They're showing it in frequencies. You know, there's even been pictures of seeing like souls leaving bodies. So my question to you, friends, is what do you think? Are we reincarnated? Do we do it again? Is it a karmic cycle? Do we make these contracts before we come here? Do we go on to heaven and just be in paradise? Is there, do you have to wait for a judgment? What do you think, friends? Because I don't know. And I'm kind of getting up in a tizzy. Y'all. Well, I will say this. If y'all want me to cover this topic more, please let me know down in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, follow this podcast on Spotify. Do what you got to do. Run this up for your girl, and I'll do more videos like this for y'all. And I really hope that I ain't got y'all up in too much of a tizzy. Friends. I'm going to call y'all back later on. Bye.